Hello to everybody. If you didn't see my video, I did top 5 Jedi that survived Order 66 in the canon timeline. Now we're doing the Legends timeline. The old EU before Disney bought Star Wars. So this is an interesting take on the Star Wars world since there is so much lore behind the EU. Not even I read it all or discovered all of it. There's probably so much I have not learned, but it feels like the EU has a lot going on. It shows that there is a lot in Star Wars outside of the movies at the time. But one of the main things about Star Wars is Order 66, the event where all the Jedi were killed by their clone troopers. But it's different in the Legends timeline, where instead of having inhibitor chips, they instead were just following orders. They were programmed to follow Order 66. But this all changed when the Clone Wars happened, so it's up for interpretation. But I kind of view Legends, this stuff, as completely different from the movies and Clone Wars. The movies are part of it, but the Clone Wars can be separate, since it's a whole big thing. But still Star Wars at the end of the day. So let's go over the top 5, and I'll go over my honorable mentions. But number 5 is Jas Jenner. So if I got his name wrong, but he's from the Star Wars Dark Times comics, and that character is a lot of fun. I don't know where he originated from, but when I was reading some of the Dark Times comics, I always liked his character, him with his green lightsaber, his grayish hair, and he's definitely a tough Jedi for sure. I don't know how long he survived, but I think he was the earliest Jedi that survived Order 66. We saw his story, and it would play out in the comics. He was basically the main Jedi who played a role in those dark times. But he apparently teamed up with the Jedi Kai Herrick, I think his name is, and they went up against an Order 66 survivor who looked like a fly. I forget his name, but he ended up dueling the two before Darth Vader arrived and finished the two Jedi off. And I assumed Das fled the scene and was able to make it out in time with his comrades. But he is a cool Jedi. I would definitely like to check out more Dark Times comics, but he's number 5 because I feel I don't know too much about the character. But he's definitely an underrated Jedi in my opinion. So number 4 is Kuruk. So I didn't really know about this Jedi until I saw him in the Clone Wars micro series, where he fought against General Grievous, who first appeared at the Battle of Hypori, and he literally destroyed those Jedi on that planet. He killed a few, and I almost thought Kuruk actually died in that moment. But apparently he faked his death, and he became the Jedi known as the one that fakes his own death, who refuses to die. He basically was able to survive Order 66, and he basically lost it at his clone troopers. He just went full animal mode on them and slaughtered them like animals, literally. And he was able to save a group of younglings and able to transport them on a remote world, and he was able to survive all the way till the Battle of Yavin, when Order 66 was basically over, the Jedi Purge. But apparently he joined Luke Skywalker's New Jedi Order, and he was able to outlive Luke Skywalker and basically show up in I think it's the Star Wars Legacy comic books, where we see the ancestor of Luke Skywalker, basically Cade Skywalker. So it's crazy to me that Kuruk is basically hundreds of years old. He goes all the way back to the Star Wars Republic comics, before they even had the title of Republic comics, before even the Phantom Menace came out, I'm pretty sure. That's how crazy the character's lore is. And will he return in the new canon? Probably not, but if he did, I'd be down to see him, since he had a pretty cool appearance in the Clone Wars micro series. But as for number 3, this one's too obvious. It's Maris Brood. So this Jedi turned to the dark side on Felucia after she was rescued by Shaak Ti. We'll get more into her later. She basically was trained by her on Felucia, and the two were able to make peace at Felucia until Darth Vader discovered them and sent the Sith assassin Galen Marek to basically kill Shaak Ti. And then later in the story, when trying to find Bail Organa, he was apparently kidnapped by Maris Brew, and it led to a fight between the two. And unfortunately, because The Force Unleashed didn't continue, we didn't get to see what happened to Maris Brew, other than a small appearance in the fighting mode in the Force Unleashed 2 Wii version. But Maris Brew always looks sexy to me. Like, just look at that. That is like, they clearly designed that character just so she can look appealing and badass to most people. And even her curved lightsabers look so awesome. But the way she survived Order 66 was definitely interesting for sure. It's probably more explained in the Force Unleashed novel. But I've not read that novel. I've only played the game, since that's what she's most known for. But could Maris Brew return in the new canon? Probably not. But if she did, like I said, it'd be awesome. But number 2 is another Force Unleashed character, Rom Koda. I always liked Rom Koda. He's basically the Jedi that refused to have clone troopers because he felt he didn't trust them, and that event saved his life as he was able to avoid Order 66 and form his own militia. And it wasn't until he was found by Galen Marek, sent by Darth Vader to attack him on an Imperial station, and Rom Koda was unfortunately blinded, just like Kanan Jarrus. I forgot to mention that in the canon video. But Rom was still able to train Galen, who was betrayed by Darth Vader later in the story, and the two basically had a good dynamic. But Rom Koda is another badass Jedi who was able to even go toe-to-toe with the Emperor, even though he was electrocuted to death. But he still went out as a great Jedi. We don't know what happened to Rom Koda. We don't know if he was able to live up to the original trilogy, since he's not reported to be part of the rebellion after The Force Unleashed. But I can assume he's still around. We just haven't seen him, since his story never got to continue in The Force Unleashed 3. But as for honorable mentions, I'll give it to Elise Starstone, who was in the Darth Vader book. I think this is a fan edit. Credit to whoever drew this. But her character was a lot of fun in the Darth Vader book. She's basically that kind soul Jedi who is able to help Ronan Shirai get out of his way from the clone troopers who betrayed them. And she was able to go toe-to-toe with Darth Vader and survive. But it's rare to survive Darth Vader. But that's the reason why she is honorable mention. And this one goes to these random Jedi that went up against Darth Vader in that Purge comic. They were basically background Jedi from the movies, and they were able to go up against Darth Vader in combat, and they all unfortunately died. It was definitely an intense comic, but I've learned about it through the Lore Master thanks to his content, so I would definitely like to track down this comic one day, since it is hard to find these Legends comics, but hopefully they can reprint them one day in like a giant book. I'm pretty sure there is an ominous one, but like it's hard to find. But hopefully they can sell them in bookstores, hopefully, but that's a different topic. But number 1 is a weird choice. It is Shaak Ti. So Shaak Ti has an interesting death history in Star Wars. She was basically stabbed by General Grievous in Revenge of the Sith, a deleted scene that's not considered canon in both Legends and the new canon. She was stabbed by Anakin in the Jedi Temple, and that's what's considered canon. But in the Legends timeline, she survived Order 66. And she was able to flee to Felucia and basically make peace at the planet until she was hunted by Galen Marek. And she basically allowed herself to die in the Sarlacc. And she was able to even tell Galen that all the Sith betray each other, which she had a good point. And she was even voiced by the amazing Susan Eisenberg, who played Wonder Woman. I thought I would note that for... But it's honestly wild that Star Wars can't even keep consistent with Shakti's death. It is confusing, but it's an interesting topic for sure. I think I discussed it in my way early videos of Shakti's history. But Shakti was always an interesting Jedi to me. I did like her background appearances in the prequel trilogy. She didn't get any lines other than in that deleted scene. But she's definitely the Jedi I think of most of the time. And she's the same species as Ahsoka. How ironic. Both videos have the same species as the number 1 Jedi. So, yeah, that's my top 5 Jedi that survived Order 66. I honestly could have made a video of all the Jedi that survived Order 66, but that would take forever. But, I don't know what the next lore video of Star Wars will be. I hope you enjoy it. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.